In the news this morning, the Japanese Grand Prix takes place tomorrow, and in amongst familiar names, Felipe Massa, Sebastian Vettel, Jenson Button. In years to come, ladies and gentlemen, I have reason to believe you will also be talking about Seb Morris when you talk about Formula One. Seb Morris is a young man that I'm convinced will be a household name in just a few years' time. He is already massively successful, but I have no hesitation in predicting big things are in store for Seb, who is a 17-year-old student at Loughborough College. In the world of motor racing, Seb is already famous with a string of successes both off the track and on. He's part of a global modelling campaign and was crowned British Racing Drivers Club Rising Star. Last weekend, he popped into BBC Radio Leicester to tell me his story so far.
Well, basically, I've started a degree at Loughborough College, so I'm doing the Level 3 extended diploma in sport. So that means I can mix my racing commitments with also getting a full-time education. So if I want to go off to university, I can. So I'm doing that for this reason, and it's a pretty perfect course for me, and there's nothing better at this level, really.
Tell me what you're racing at the moment.
I'm racing in F4 at the moment, so we're just 3 down from F1, and with that has come a thing where I've been nominated to be one of the Jack Wills Young Brits. So I get great exposure from that in all the shop windows, and I'm in the handbook as well. So things like that, come off it. But obviously, racing's the main priority at the moment, and now our attention turns at the end of the year to raise some budget for next year. So to see what we can raise and then what we can race in next year. So hopefully, we're going to go into Europe and race in the Formula Renault NEC Championship, which is the Northern European Championship. So we'll see how that goes.
And this all started in a really small way, didn't it? Tell me how what your first racing experience.
Well, basically, when I was 8 years old, everyone in that sort of age, who boys have karting parties. So, and I just pretty much ran circles around everyone else, and I'd had no experience. And the manager at the karting circuit had kind of spotted me and said to my dad, "I presume he's professional." And my dad was like, "What are you talking about? You can only be a professional F1 driver." And obviously, we didn't know at that time. And the guy said, "No, you can do professional kart racing." So, lo and behold, we went to watch a race at a local circuit, and I fell in love with it. So Dad said, "Well, let's do it." And that's the worst decision he's ever made because of the financial situation it's put us in. But I'm happy we've done it, and so are my parents. And all started from there. So I climbed up through the karting ranks. I wanted to learn the circuits of the UK as quick as I could. So like Brands Hatch, Silverstone. So I moved into cars when I was just 14. So I was racing at 130 miles an hour around Silverstone when I was, 14 years old, before I could even have a licence.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it was a pretty big experience. So that matured me so quickly compared to all the fellow people at school. I came back into school and I'd been used to telling adults what to do. I want this to my car, change this, change that, and then you have to answer to a teacher when you get to school. Say yes sir, no sir. So it was pretty tough for me at that time, but good experience.
It's an amazing story. And is your family still backing you, or have you got kind of sponsors and advertisers and things like that now? Yeah,
we've now got to a stage where we can get sponsors and investors on board. So I'm proud to be a Tag Heuer ambassador now, Janetta ambassador as well. So they've got the main sponsorship on my car. So they're providing funding as well. So which is good. So we're getting just starting to get a brand around me, and then also with the Jack Wills thing, that's pretty huge. So we're going to see what comes of that as well. But that's just great exposure at this time. But we'll see what happens for next year, because you start having the meetings in December and January as to what you want to do, because the racing season doesn't start till April. Yeah, we're just trying to get a brand image around me, and so people know who I am. And then when you go to get sponsors, they're much more receptive to you because they know who you are.
You come across unbelievably matter of fact, unbelievably down to earth. Is none of this allowed to go to your head? Who's keeping your feet on the ground?
Yeah, thank you. I've got many people. I've got to keep my feet on the ground. Fortunately for me, I've got a management company, Full Contact, who's helped me with all my management side of things and commercial. And then also your friends, like Sam behind me, is pulling funny faces. He helps me keep my feet on the ground, and obviously the parents are the main people. Then I've got a driver trainer, Matt, who I'm with every day at the circuit. Matt Shawyer helps me, drive perfectly on the day, look at the data logging systems and make sure you're driving the right lines, right braking points. And then I've got a day-to-day manager, Andy Mayrick, who I train with. He can help me sort out drives for next year. We've got a really good team around me at the moment, so which is what you need in any sport to move forward. So yeah, it's going well.
And with no trace of false modesty, don't hold back on this. You have been unbelievably successful in a relatively short space of time.
Yeah, I've won a championship in every year I've raced since 2008. 2008 won 3 karting championships in 1 year, and then in 2010 won the Junior Ginetta Winter Series Championship, and then in 2011 won the main UK Championship in the under-17s, the Junior Ginetta, and then I moved up into Formula Renault, which is a single-seater, kind of a scaled-down F1 car. Won the Winter Series in that, and then in F4 this year I've just come third in the UK under 21, so it's not bad at the moment. So now try and span into Europe and see what happens there.
What did they see at 8 years old that you still have now, do you think?
I don't know. It's with racing, it's something you can't teach. It's all about, it all comes through your bum, really. You got yeah. You feel everything through your backside, through your legs, through your arms, and it's something that you can't teach. You can teach drivers to be quick, but find that extra couple of tenths of a second, which is just less than a blink of an eye. But on a track that that transfers into about 20-30 metres. So you're gaining that per lap time. It's just impossible to teach. So thankfully I was born with some talent, because I'm not born with any others. So hopefully this talent's going to shine through, and hopefully I can make it up to the big time. But it's something that you can't teach. And as from Ayrton Senna's early days, Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher, they all started in karting and went to a go-karting party or something, and just got into the feel of it. And within a couple of laps, I felt like I was at home. It was very strange. I remember to this day I was looking forward to this karting party. I'd loved cars since I was about 2 years old. Ever since I knew what one was, I'd always been in them. So I guess I rode a bike early, started with all my friends, went in the car. So then when I jumped into a go-kart with an engine and everything, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And it's all gone from there, really, and I've still got that talent, luckily, to this day. It's
taking you to great heights so far. There's no reason to think it won't carry on. Do you drive properly now? Have you got a car and a driving licence now?
Yeah, properly driving Mini, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I started driving when I was 17, like anyone else who's done their test on time. But it's a completely different manner and style of driving to what I'm used to. So it is completely different when you get in a road car. You just have to drive like everyone else. So no points on my licence.
Good for you. And did you pass first time?
Yeah, passed everything first time, which is not the same as some of my other racing driver friends, has to be said. Passed third or fourth time. So yeah, it's a nerve-wracking moment, probably the most nerve-wracking moment of my life, taking my driving test.
It's just an amazing story. I'm so glad you've shared it with us. I have to ask you about your hopes for the future. You've mentioned some big names there, Schumacher, Hamilton, great heroes of yours, I imagine. Where would you like to see yourself?
For any driver my sort of level who's got good results, aims to go to Formula One. So yeah, I'd say Formula One's obviously the biggest aim, but it's all about financial backing and getting a team around you and having flexible time to train and things like that, which is why I'm at Loughborough College, because I can do all my work at home, which enables me to then fit my training and testing around it. So thankful to them, and so hopefully move up through the ladder and secure some financial backing to move forward, and then hopefully reach F1.
Really, really great story. I told you, you're going to love him. And he's spotted at the age of 8. Look where he is now. Remember the name, Seb Morris. He's a student at Loughborough College and popped in last weekend to tell us his story.